What's up, Cootie Crew? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about tattoos again. A couple weeks ago I posted a video all about my different stick and poke tattoos and asked if you guys would be interested in hearing about all of my other tattoos, and it seemed like the response was yes. It actually came up as a memory this week because this week 10 years ago, I got my very first tattoo. So I've been getting tattooed for over a decade now. I'm getting old, I guess. This will be the next tattoo tour video. I'm going to do these in chunks because I do have quite a few tattoos, and that would just be a really long video. So instead I'm going to break it up, and today's video is all about the bottom half of my left leg, as of whenever I make this video. Now I'm going to go through each of the ones that I have on this portion of my body, the inspiration behind them, pain level, just random information all about them so that you guys can learn more about them and I get to show off my beautiful tattoos. Time for me to begin today's tour of my body art. The first leg tattoo that I got was this message in a bottle tattoo. This was inspired by the band A Day to Remember. I just had been a fan of them for a super long time and decided to get something that reminded me of them. So if you see the little outline of the man in what looks like the locket piece, that is from their Homesick album, the outline of the person there. So I wanted to incorporate it that way. This is also a tattoo about the long distance relationship I had. My husband and I were long distance for a super long time, and so I wanted to get something that resembled sort of a love letter because that went along with the idea of homesick. And because I already had a lot of nautical tattoos, I wanted it to have more of a nautical theme, so it went from being an envelope to a message in a bottle. This message in a bottle tattoo, the pain level was relatively high down by my ankle bone. And then I did have some issues. I had a surgery on my knee, and there's just some parts of my leg where if you touch them, I get really strange sensations. And the top of the bottle here was in exactly where that was an issue. So that was really painful just because of that surgery. I think otherwise it would have been fine. I have these uncharacteristic, daintily script tattoos on both of my ankles, and they are the Latin form of the name of Switzerland, and that's where me and half of my family originate from. So I wanted a small dedication to that. After having this one for a couple years, I did decide this was too small. I needed something bigger. So I recently got something much bigger, bolder, brighter, and super cute on the back of my thigh. These hurt like crazy. I would say second to the ribs, this was the most painful spot to get tattooed. Thankfully, it was really quick. Like, this is also probably the quickest tattoo I've ever gotten. Next tattoo. This is my Fall Out Boy inspired tattoo. So again, I've been a Fall Out Boy fan for a very long time. And when they released the Mania album, one of the lyrics that hit me like a ton of bricks was in the song Wilson. And the lyrics are, I became such a strange shape trying to fit in. And those just hit me really hard just because of where I was in my life at the time. It just wasn't a good fit for me, and I had compromised a lot of my self-expression and personality and things like that in order to fit into the lifestyle I had created for myself. And that was causing me some internal conflict, as you can probably imagine. So using that song and those lyrics, I sat down to do some art therapy and came up with something very similar to this. So this is a symbol from a previous Fall Out Boy album, and I wanted to put a bunch of very colorful, vibrant flowers in it, and then also some darker elements, like you can see the storm in the night sky on the top portion, because I felt like the parts of me that I had, both the happy and sad parts, I had just been confining too much instead of letting myself be free and myself. My next tattoo is one of my favorites to this day. It's a lantern with some moths around it, and honestly, I just kind of wanted this one because I thought the look of these was really cool. Just the richness of all of the colors and the amount of colors that went into this one just blew me away. I'm still so in love with this one. It takes up pretty much my entire calf, and then it just turns into like this big focal point for the back of my leg when I'm wearing dresses and stuff. This one actually ended up being 2 sessions, and this is the only single tattoo, I'm not counting my half sleeve, where it had to be 2 sessions. For the most part, I'm really good about the day before and the day of prep, you know, to ease the pain and make it a better experience. But for this one, I went to a concert the night before, which means I did not get very much sleep. And then on top of it, I was running around trying to get off work early to get this tattoo, so I skipped a meal right before this tattoo. Anyway, after the outline was done, I was shaking, I was covered in sweat, and I was about to throw up. So we had to call it. It was really bad, and it made me realize just how much of a difference all of those things actually make. But I ended up going back for a second session to do all of the color, so it worked out. It's beautiful now. And then the second time when I went back for the color, the pain level was what I would consider normal for a tattoo. So I don't think the spot was more painful than the others. I just think it was because I had neglected proper tattoo session preparation. Now, my front and center shin tattoo is of a dagger and a teacup. This tattoo is in honor of my dad's side of the family, and the reason it's made up of a dagger and a teacup is just because it reminds me of my grandparents on that side of the family. So my grandma has all of these like really beautiful tea sets, and then we always have sit down tea and cookies and coffee and stuff whenever we're visiting. And the dagger is for my grandfather just because his ornate dagger from his time in the army has been displayed in the house, and it just reminded me of him. And I said, go colorful, as always, for this tattoo. So we went with more of a rainbow type look for this tattoo. And it did hurt to get my shin tattooed. I think I had built it up in my head to be way more painful than it actually was. But I mean, it was one of the least pleasant places I've been tattooed. Compared to the ribs, it was a piece of cake. But compared to like my arms or other parts of my leg, it was more painful. Now, the flip side of that tattoo is the tattoo for my mom's side of the family. For that, I got this hummingbird. Starting with my grandma and then trickling down to the rest of us in that side of the family, we just always have hummingbird feeders, and that's just like a very central part of summertime and watching birds. So I thought this was a really good tattoo to just make me think of everyone in that family, because I have so many memories of us just sitting out on my grandparents' deck, surrounded by all of the flowers and watching all of the hummingbirds come to the feeder. So it just made me think of them. I love how many colors are incorporated into it. I didn't want it to be a specific type of hummingbird. I just wanted it to resemble a hummingbird and be super colorful, and it is. I love the outline of the hummingbird here, using the different colors to just make it really pop and stand out. And then the embellishment with the flower so that it kind of flows better into the other tattoos that I have on my leg. This part of my leg didn't really have a high pain level. It was actually pretty low, so that's nice. And the final tattoo is my Loki tattoo. As I already mentioned in my stick and poke video, I have a Loki tattoo on my forearm that I did myself, but I already had this tattoo of Loki down here on my leg. Loki in the MCU is one of my favorite characters of all time, and I just feel very connected to him as a character. I'm just really drawn to his story, and also just in general how intriguing he is as a character. I think he was super well done, and I don't really feel that strongly about that many characters, so I knew I had to get a tattoo of him. I had always said I don't want faces on my body, just that's me. I had been avoiding putting a face on my body for a long time. So I almost got this with only the helmet. It just seemed very bare, especially because the helmet is all gold, and I wanted some more color and embellishment added to it. So I went ahead and just said, okay, we'll put the face in there. And then also added the scepter. Behind him, we have this nice orb that's inspired by space and stars and all of those good things. I actually have another tattoo on my upper thigh that has that same sort of galaxy type background going on. So that's kind of cool that I have it on both parts of my leg. Okay, that's it for this portion of my tattoo tour. If this was useful or entertaining, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys thought, if there's any information you would like in my next video, or if you guys have questions, or if you want to share a little bit about your tattoos, maybe pain levels in the same areas I've gotten tattoos or anything like that. Feel free to share in the comments section. You can check out all the other videos that I have on my channel, and if you would like to stay tuned for future videos, please subscribe. I hope all of you guys have been enjoying spooky season some way or another, even in this very weird and wacky year. You guys are freaking amazing, and I will see you all next week.